Title: What My Husband's Friends Did Shocked Me. True Infidelity Story, Safe Version. It was a warm spring morning in Austin, Texas, when my life took an unexpected turn. My name is Emily Parker, a 34-year-old teacher, wife, and mother of 2 energetic kids. My husband, Jason, worked as a project manager at a growing construction firm, and we had been married for nearly 10 years. Like every marriage, ours had its ups and downs, but overall, I thought we were solid, stable, and supportive of each other. I always considered myself a trusting person. Jason had a close circle of friends that he had known since college: Mark, Stephen, and Daniel. They were practically like brothers to him, and over the years, they had become part of our family gatherings. I cooked for them, laughed with them, and even listened when they shared their personal struggles. That's why what happened one weekend left me shocked to my core and forced me to reevaluate what trust truly meant in marriage. It all began on a Friday evening when Jason invited his friends over to watch a big basketball game. I didn't mind hosting. In fact, I enjoyed seeing the guys unwind after a long week. Our living room filled with laughter, the sound of clinking soda cans, and the smell of homemade nachos. I was in the kitchen preparing a fruit platter for them when I overheard their conversation drift in. At first, it seemed like harmless teasing among friends, but then one of them made a comment that caught my attention. "Jason, man, you don't even know how lucky you are," Mark said. "Emily takes care of everything. House, kids, even hosting us all the time. Not many women would put up with our loud company." Jason laughed and replied, "Yeah, she's amazing. I don't know what I'd do without her." Hearing those words warmed my heart, but what followed was unsettling. Stephen chimed in, "If I had a wife like Emily, I'd never let her out of my sight." There was laughter again, but this time it felt different. Something about the tone made me uneasy. I brushed it off, thinking it was just guy talk, but deep down, the comment stuck with me. The next morning, Jason left early for work, even though it was Saturday. He explained he had an emergency site meeting. I decided to take the kids to the park, and as we were leaving, Daniel stopped by. He looked nervous, holding a bag of tools. "Hey, Emily," he said. "Jason asked me to drop these off. He said he'll need them on Monday." I thanked him, but before I could close the door, Daniel hesitated. "Look, I just want to say, you're really special. Jason's lucky, and sometimes I feel like he doesn't see how good he has it." I froze, not knowing how to respond. It was one thing to hear a stray compliment during group conversations, but this felt too personal, too direct. I politely nodded and closed the door, but my mind raced all day. Why would he say something like that? Did the others feel the same way? That weekend, I paid closer attention. When all 3 friends were over again for another get-together, I noticed lingering glances and subtle remarks. At one point, Stephen offered to help me in the kitchen. While we were alone, he said softly, "You deserve more appreciation, Emily." Honestly, if Jason doesn't notice, some of us do. I dropped the spoon I was holding. My hands trembled slightly. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, but it was clear now this wasn't innocent admiration anymore. Something about their behavior was crossing a line. The following week, I confided in my best friend, Sarah, who had known me since childhood. Over coffee at our favorite cafe, I told her everything. She frowned and leaned closer. "Emily, you need to be careful. Sometimes men test boundaries without even realizing it. The fact that more than one of Jason's friends has said something is a red flag. You need to talk to Jason." But I hesitated. I didn't want to cause unnecessary drama or make Jason feel like he had to choose between me and his friends. Still, I couldn't ignore what I had felt in those moments. The breaking point came during a neighborhood barbecue we hosted. While Jason was busy manning the grill, Mark approached me with a glass of lemonade. Smiling, he said, "You know, Emily, if you ever need anything at all, you can always count on me." His tone was serious, almost suggestive. I looked at him firmly and replied, "Thank you, Mark, but I have Jason for that." He laughed awkwardly, but I didn't. Later that night, when everyone had left, I finally told Jason everything. At first, he brushed it off. "Babe, they're just joking. You know how guys are." But I shook my head. "No, Jason. It's not just jokes. It's the looks, the words, the way they're acting around me. It doesn't feel right. Jason's face hardened. He didn't argue further. Instead, he grew quiet. Over the next week, I noticed he started distancing himself from his friends. He turned down their invitations, spent more evenings at home, and was extra attentive toward me and the kids. Finally, one evening, he admitted, I had a talk with them. I told them to back off, that they crossed a line. If they can't respect our marriage, then maybe they're not the friends I thought they were. Relief washed over me, but there was also sadness. These were men Jason had known for years. Losing that bond wasn't easy for him, but it showed me something important. When faced with a choice, he chose us. Months passed, and while Jason still occasionally heard from Mark or Stephen, things were never the same. Our home felt lighter without the constant unease of their presence. And for me, I learned a valuable lesson. Trust is not just about your partner, but also about the people you let into your life. Sometimes betrayal doesn't come from where you expect it, and loyalty is tested in the quiet moments when no one is watching. What Jason's friends did shocked me, yes, but what Jason did in response reminded me why I married him in the first place. In the end, it wasn't a story of infidelity at all, but a story about boundaries, respect, and the strength of a marriage when faced with challenges from the outside world.